Hello everyone, The Action Productions here, and today we are here with a new video of my top 10 Studio Series figures. Now, before we get onto the list, I am going to mention a few honorable mentions, but also a quick side note. The reason why I'm not including in Studio Series Devastator in it is because it would immediately be the number one. And each figure individually isn't exactly in my top 10. But having Devastator number one would just be a cheat code. Otherwise, he'll be my number one. But now, let's get on to the list. Now, before we get onto the list, I would like to mention a few honorable mentions. Kicking off the honorable mentions, I have the Studio Series 49B and the Studio Series Rise of the Beast Bumblebee. I like both of these figures, but these honorable mentions are a case where I just like more figures than others. Another honorable mention would be the Rise of the Beast Cheetor and the Rise of the Beast Battle Trap. But as stated before, as much as I like these figures, they didn't quite make the top 10 list due to the decisions I made are actually in my top 10. Lastly, we have the Bumblebee movie Soundwave and the Bumblebee movie Ironhide. Two great phenomenal figures, and as well as the Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. But as much as I like these figures, my top 10 are pretty much the figures that I will never stop playing with. So now, let's get on to number 10. Now, please regard that this top 10 list is my own personal opinion. Your list may be different, and that's completely okay. You can comment on your list if you want, but for now, let's get started. And now I have a tie between the Studio Series 32 Optimus Prime and Sentinel Prime. Now, these two are great, phenomenal figures. Like, for starters, Sentinel Prime over here, the paint, the sculpture, and the fact that you could also have his DNA upgrade kit compatible. It's actually pretty amazing how you could create the final battle. And with the back here, the little flaps that he has in the movie, you can kind of see all the details that he has. And not only that, his fire truck, it's absolutely amazing. And for Optimus Prime over here, this is, in my opinion, the best version of Optimus Prime. I am aware that this isn't the Dark of the Moon version, but you can include the jetpack and his blaster that he used to absolutely devastate all the other Decepticons in the movie. And not only that, their vehicle mode is what makes him stand out the most. Now, I am aware that this specific mode has definitely been outdated due to the new Studio Series 44, I believe, of the Dark of the Moon version of Optimus Prime. But I really wish they had made that figure taller. Now, as seen as the number 10, let's get on to number 9. On to the number 9 spot, I have the Voyager Class Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. And this figure is definitely the Megatron upgrade that we all needed. Very accurate, right scale, and not only that, there is no kibble or anything on this figure whatsoever. Just the detail, the mix of brown, you can see all the parts, the gray, the black, and surprisingly, I don't think mine has any paint chipping. But like every figure, it isn't perfect. The one thing I would have said don't like is how these things could just tab off easily. And it could kind of be hard to tab in due to the back. Just keep on moving and moving and moving. But right here, as far as articulation goes, we have its claw. They could just make Optimus Prime. They could just have him grab Optimus Prime, attack at the blade, and just shoot at his spark. But yeah, no, this figure is just really, really clean. But if I had the Leader Class Megatron from Dark of the Moon, this figure would be an honorable mention. But since I don't have this figure, by figure I mean the Leader Class Megatron. But for now, this is a really good improvement over the original Leader Class. And yes, I am willing to say this figure is definitely better than Leader Class Megatron. But now that we wrap this up with number 9, let's go to number 8. For number 8, I have Studio Series Galvatron. And I am aware that this figure got lots of hate when it was first announced. As people were saying, the back looks weird, it looks all messy. But I disagree, this figure is super duper clean. Like, it's absolutely flawless. You have its gun, you have the rockets. Oh, this could be an issue. But even though they come with two, you can tab them on both sides. I personally like to have it on this side just so he's armed with two weapons on each side. There's articulation too. You can kind of do a little bit of You could spin it around like how I did Optimus Prime. That he jumped up doing with the kick. And yeah, overall just lots of articulation. The shoulders don't get away to anything. And you've probably seen him in one of my other stop motions of the recreation fight between Optimus Prime and Galvatron. So please make sure to check that out. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. And the back, it's just absolutely clean. Like, not like the original one where it was just shell formers. This is actually flat. So this figure is just good in all angles. And although the vehicle mode, the feet can get in the way, I'm pretty sure this is a figure that they prioritize the robot mode more than the vehicle itself. And honestly, I don't even mind, as look at this detail. Let me just increase the camera. You can see the eyes, the blue, they really outdid themselves here. And the core right here in the middle. But yeah, overall this figure is just perfect. But flawed when it comes to vehicle form. But for now, let's get to number 7. I apologize in advance for my mistakes when saying stuff, but this is my first time ever doing a ranking. But you could probably tell by the feet that number 7 is Blackout. Now this is a bit of a shocker, as I've seen this guy high up in other people's rankings. But honestly, this figure, while it is very good to have both helicopter mode, the issue I have with mine is that all the tabs just doesn't connect. And not only that, the transformation can be a bit of a mess, as you have to focus on the legs and the back too. But not only that, the back, it could easily untab. But overall, this is just a really clean figure. And I know that the masterpieces ended up coming out was absolutely overshadowed this figure. But if you wanted to get a cheap figure for free, well, this is your one right here. It comes with this blade. And although it does have the upgrade kit, I never got a chance to get the upgrade kit, unfortunately. But yeah, just the painting, the gray. And yeah, he's also been in my stop motions too. You can check those videos out. I actually like how they made the propeller fit back here, as well as not trying to get too much kill in the way. And the one thing I love is ankle pivot. If a figure has ankle pivot, it's definitely worth it, as you could get into such poses. For example, his iconic pose where he's like standing in the squat, has like one hand up, and his weapon like kind of like this one, where like he's ready to just strike you down. Yeah, no, this figure is just, this figure is it. Like, he's pretty much it. But now on to number 6, I believe. Yes, it's number 6. Sorry for that mistake. But hey, maybe it could be one of these 3 figures who are being displayed in the back. So on to number 6. Now number 6 is going to the leader class, Shockwave. And oh my god, this figure is the definition of upgrade. Because this figure is definitely an upgrade over its original. And while I can see people putting it in the top 10, I'm pretty sure there are many who agree that the one flaw they have is in the legs. Like, you put it, but the problem is that, yeah, it could easily fall over. So balancing it can be a bit of an issue, but that doesn't get in the way of how much I love this figure. It's just the cannon. They finally gave it a proper cannon that's, well, huge. Like, just with one shot, boom, you're dead. And not only that, his arm, although the fingers are imposable, I really don't mind, as you could still do a lot with it. You could probably just grab your opponent and just straight up shoot it. And yeah, no, this figure is just a total package. The detailing, the balance between the purple and the gray and black. And not only that, his wire does not get in the way of anything at all. And oh my god, I could keep on talking about this figure all day, but in order for me not to do that, let's head on over to number 5. Now number 5 is going to the new addition to my collection, Studio Series Scourge. And I did receive a comment saying how they didn't like this figure as much. And as much as I respect my opinion, keep in mind that this list is my own opinion too. And oh my god, I am aware that this figure is based on a concept art, but to me, he looks pretty accurate. Just how they were able to make the back not interfere with the roll mode at all. And the smokestacks too. Yes, I'm aware that this placement for the gun is really fun, hilarious, but oh my god, just look at this figure. I'm aware that he's not as big as the other leaders, but he's definitely in the right height. And just for one quick comparison to see what I'm talking about, here he is right next to Cheetor, and you can see how Scourge is really tall. But besides the height, just his blade, the articulation, but the main flaw I have is how this claw doesn't have its own joints in the fingers, so poses are definitely limited. And I know that I mentioned another flaw, but I can't remember what it was. But I just love how you could take out the front, which reveals a grill showing some of the victims who he has killed. And not only that, his truck, oh my god, his truck, it's really a masterpiece. I am aware that there is the clear plastic, but it's very thick that you shouldn't have to worry about. You shouldn't worry about it breaking. But I'm aware that some pieces have snapped off because they didn't get the original one, which is the official release copy. They got a prototype. I'm not sure why people do that. Pretty dumb of them. But yeah, this overall pretty clear figure. And if you keep it still, the eyes actually glow. But now, let's move on to number 4. Number 4, I have Jetfire. And what I'm going to start with this figure, he's not jam-packed like the original. And I'm aware that the original was bigger than Jet form. But this just takes the cake. Oh, look at this. He has a little detail right here. I actually love how they put this articulation. The cane that he's able to use to walk. Just walk. His axe. And all of the fingers are imposable. Like I said, I really don't mind at all. You could definitely say that this figure is flawless. But honestly, I would say that the only flaw would be here, the legs. Like, the legs aren't an issue, but the little rockets, like, I feel like they could probably get in the way of, like, some poses. Considering how they could get stuck. But overall, it might be just a dumb flaw, and I'm just trying to find flaw just to hide the fact that this figure is still perfect. But like, going over to the back, we can actually see how everything had just been neatly folded up into this backpack right here. As well as the front being able to lock in on the top. And not only that, how it's compatible with the SS32. But thanks to the jetpack, I don't have to risk this figure ever breaking. So I could just keep them like this intact. But now, let's move on to number 3. Before I show my number 3, I just want to give a message that it's not impossible to find this guy, but I really hope people really do consider other people who also want this figure, because this figure is truly a masterpiece, and that is the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime. A break from leaders, because I'm pretty sure most of you notice that most of my lists are leaders, but this figure, it's no different. The blade, the fusion cannon, its new mold, and not only that, this has less killbot than the Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. And if you go on here, you can actually see how the tires are neatly folded down here. But I am aware how the truck can look a little bit messy, but in person, it actually doesn't look that bad. And the fact how this was originally supposed to be a retool, but they changed it to its very own figure, I gotta say, that was actually a very nice move for Hasbro. But the packaging makes it very easy for someone to just take away this figure, or you could probably guess it, take off his head. So someone were to find this figure but it has no head, I don't blame them. I blame the person who took off the head by Hasbro, because like these two packages right here, it comes with the plastic. So it's not that, well, it's not that easy to get away with the plastic. But yeah, overall this figure is pretty good. I am one of the few though who don't have an issue with the shoulders. But the one thing I say is what interferes the most are the smokestacks. Then again, even with the smokestack being big, you can still put this figure in some really awesome poses. But if this is at number 3, what is at number 2? Well, why don't we go and find out? Keep in mind, I do not have the upgrade kit. I ended up using the weapon from the original Last Night figure, and that is the Studio Series Grimlock. Now, the only flaw I would have with this figure is that it doesn't come with its weapon. You have to get the upgrade kit, which I missed out on. But honestly, I do not absolutely mind. Look at the detail. They ended up mastering the live action look. And although this flap can be, I'm pretty sure this flap is a flaw for some people, it is neatly folded so that it doesn't get in the way. But overall, just the detail, the articulation. Okay, maybe not a full 360 on here, but you can still make it do a giant uppercut for 2 of the opponents. And the dinosaur mode, the T-Rex, oh my god, just shows how badass he was looking in the movie. Like, they absolutely cooked with this figure. Like, at all. Like, they cooked. Hasbro definitely knew what they were doing to make sure that this figure does not choke at all. I mean, no, not the figure. They made sure so that this figure doesn't look bad. Pardon me for my mistake. But overall, I really like how they incorporated from the legs all the way up to make this figure look like it actually looks ancient. But if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you could probably tell what's my number 1. Despite the fact that I haven't given a hint to what my number 1 could be. So before you check on the video and you see my number 1, make sure you comment below which one you think is my number 1. But for now, let's get to the number 1 spot. And for my number 1 figure, absolutely just dominated every single figure in this list, is Studio Series The Fallen. And I could go on every single day why he's the best Studio Series figure. But although I think this is a 10 out of 10 figure, it could have used a little bit of articulation right here in the fingers, but that doesn't interfere how it looks. And I just love how they improvised with the jet mode, how it made it look like the old Cybertronian vehicles. But honestly, just taking a look at 360, no matter what angle you view at it or you look at it, oh my god, it's just absolutely perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. And not only that, you can actually move the little rubber thing right here. You can kind of see move up and down. And not only that, give me your face. And they actually managed to give his head some detail too. And you can see that the eyes do glow red at all. And this was my most highly anticipated figure. I kept on saying to myself, when would they release it? When would they release it? They released it and I got him. But yeah, no, this figure just takes the cake. The painting, the hint of orange, the articulation, the mold, the sculpture. I could definitely tell that Hasbro definitely had to make something very unique, or had to do something that they never done, so people wouldn't be disappointed by this figure. And honestly, this figure is just overall better than the whole top 10 honorable mentions. Because why? It's literally in the number 1 spot. Now, as far as I mentioned, if Devastator was number 1, my whole top 10, just think of it as a list down, meaning that my Megatron would have been at number 10 and Optimus Prime and Sentinel would have been an honorable mention. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I have been gaining subscribers in the past, so thank you all for the support and supporting my channel so I can keep on creating content for you guys. And please do consider like and subscribe, and I shall leave the link to the description to my video of Optimus Prime versus Galvatron. But yeah, like and subscribe, and comment down which is your favorite Studio Series figure. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Please do keep in mind that this whole list was my opinion. Every figure here that I own, I would always enjoy. Although there are more figures out there that I want and couldn't have, I am grateful with the collection that I have. In every single figure that I own, I'll always find some enjoyment. This is just my opinion of the top 10 figures that I personally enjoy the most. And although most of you would probably disagree with my list, that's completely okay. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and feel free to comment yours and I'll gladly respect it. But please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.